Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Um, Happy holidays, or whichever holiday you celebrate. Today, we are actually discuss a couple things. But we with as the topic of the day is that streaming D&D tabletop game. Choppy, as in you can't hear me, or is that a little better? Okay, I think it was I adjusted the volume a little. Okay, let's try again. So today we're going to talk a little bit about streaming at D&D and tabletop games. We'll get into the future stuff at the end. So streaming D&D. Now, I guess the best way to start this would be why people stream. There are a number of different reasons why folks stream. Some stream specifically as a hobby, something to do, something to share with other people, and it's not 100% focus on the stream. It's something about um, stream because it's easy. It depends on what you're streaming, I guess. Bobicus. I think it depends on the type of stream. Yeah, I would absolutely say that with the technology that's out now, like especially free tech like OBS and stuff like that, it does make it easier to stream now. I mean, someone my age is able to kind of pick this up a little bit and actually stream. Yeah, it does. The technology does make it a little easier for most people to get into it. But their personal reasons is different, I think. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody could be all ready for that. But I think, as I was saying, the personal reasons behind why somebody would stream, right? Uh, for D&D and for tabletop games, in my case, well, I'll get to my case because it kind of ties in with some of the later stuff. But some people stream, as I was saying, like for a hobby, right? It's fun. They can get together with friends. They can make new friends. They can try putting together something fairly easy and reach a lot of people in a short amount of time. And so that's what they'll try. And other people will try to stream because depending on their situations, they might actually want that to be a full-time job, something that kind of supports them. Um, and with that kind of that kind of reasoning for streaming, that you could run into a lot of issues. Now, obviously, as you said, Bavik, one of those issues definitely is not the technology. The technology is open, it's free for the most part, and with so many tutorial videos that you could find online, um, with a very in a limited amount of time, you could actually start streaming almost immediately. But if your personal reason is and um, to try and actually make it a living, then I think you start running into more issues outside of can I stream? Like, do I have the ability to stream? Now, if you're running it into as a hobby, you know, throw up an overlay, throw up OBS. You can instantly do it, and you can do it very simply. Most of us at this point can find, with our Google foo, we could find reasonably cheap or even free overlay, depending on what you want to stream. And most of the time, a lot of folks, it's video games. They'll be streaming video games, or just like what I'm doing right now, just like a chat or sharing a hobby or something that they do with others. You know, something that they have a passion for, something that they enjoy. And yeah, hobbyists. This is a great. I think this is a great outlet to share things like that. But again, going back to if you're trying to do this for a living, the one thing I will say is there are a lot of folks out there who have videos on running a stream as a business or creating, you know, how do you create things that are going to bring people to the table, as it were, and get people on board with what you're doing. So now that brings us specifically to D&D, because I think for video games at this point, that kind of market is saturated, in the sense that you could go onto Google, you could go onto YouTube, and you could type in how to stream X game, right? And you'll find a million people who are streaming that specific game, or will tell you how to stream that game, or give you tips and tricks and things like that. But when it comes to tabletop games, when it comes to D&D, there it's very limited. At least in from what I've seen. Before I actually started streaming, oh so long ago, last October. Before I actually started in October, there was at least 2 or 3 months of me just learning the technology, going into, trying to find how to stream specifically a tabletop game in D&D. And yes, I saw Roll20, I saw a number of different options, and I actually did a talking with the DM about the tools, streaming tools that you could use. Well, not even specifically streaming tools, just online tools that you could use for your game, for your D&D game or your tabletop game, because of the world we're in right now, where a lot of us are quarantined, and most of us are quarantined and trying to still run games. So I did see a lot of those topics. I did see a lot of those things that you could use. But I have always, this is just for me personally, Players and Creators is actually like a new iteration of something that I've been trying to do for years, which is I've been trying to figure out a way to, one, support other players and creators, which is exactly what Players and Creators means. And in the past, the way I did that, I had a podcast. I interviewed folks who created their own games, and it was anything from live action role playing games to tabletop games. And that actually went pretty well. I also did a few conventions where I interviewed some people. If anybody's familiar with Farscape, I actually got to interview Gigi Edgley, who played Chiana in Farscape. That was a lot of fun. I also interviewed her brother, who was in the States trying to promote his music career, and a lot of good people, But I've always been trying to do that for folks. Yes, Jake Edgley. Yeah, streaming D&D at a high level quality has to be one of the hardest streams I can think of. Yeah, absolutely, Bubkus. You hit the nail right on the head, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. Because in my journey to trying to figure out how to do this, and in that journey, and I call it a journey because I'm still learning, right? But I wish that somebody would have told me some things. I wish that there would have been resources or someone I could talk to. So I'm trying, I'd like to be that voice today about that. Yeah, you have to have everybody on board to do a high quality stream of D&D or any tabletop game. And that does require, as you said, the everybody has to be on board with it. Yeah. You're surprised that people try. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm trying, and I'm going to continue trying until it either works or it doesn't. Because again, I wish some people would have told me. Now, if you're trying to stream, if you're trying to stream a game, and this is even whether it's for a hobby or for you're trying to get off the ground as a business, as something that you could probably support yourself with. You really are going to have issues initially finding any kind of any kind of like tutorial or somebody discussing it, and you will find a million how to do video games. And what I wound up doing was I watched as many of those videos as I possibly could, the video games, because while it wasn't initially my goal, thank you for the follow, Bubkus. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And welcome to the stream. I didn't even say welcome to the stream to you when you first came on, so I do apologize for that, but thank you. I appreciate it. But essentially, I looked at all of these tutorials on how to stream your video games, right? And I wanted to see what video game players were doing. And then once I figured out the basics of how to stream my D&D game, I said, okay, where could I apply some of those tips and tricks from the video game players who are streaming successfully, and how can I apply that to my D&D stream? And there are a number of different things that you can take away from that. I will say the big part that I took away from the video game players was it had to do a lot with the settings for OBS. What they use for both streaming and playing video games at the same time. It does kind of fall into the same category when you are playing a tabletop game, because you are streaming. So for example, we use Discord for our game, and so we are streaming on Discord. We are connecting all of our computers and tech to Discord, and then I'm also streaming at the same time. So a lot of the settings that the video game players use, that all comes into play because you have a million things going on. And if you're like me, you also have web pages up. You have websites up like D&D Beyond. You have other resources up as well. And so you're going to be putting a lot of strain on your computer, on your CPU. So it's a really good idea. Don't ignore tutorials from video game players, like what they use as best settings for the types of games that they use. It will come in handy. You're not going to use their specific settings, but see what they do. See what they're trying to accomplish. Listen to all of the reasonings of why they have things set up, because that might actually work for what you're trying if you're trying to stream your tabletop or D&D game. That was the first thing. Second thing was, as I said, a severe lack of tutorials on streaming a D&D game. So like anybody who's probably trying to do this, the first thing you're going to think about is, what are these successful D&D games and what do they look like and what do they do? Right. But unfortunately, there is, I hate to say it this way, but there's kind of a trap to that, because you can't look at what they're doing now and try to emulate what they're doing now, because perfect example, I'm a huge critter. I love Critical Role. I've been watching Critical Role for a while, for a number of years, And it's not what they're doing now that is making them successful. It's how they got there. And if you're going to be using also Critical Role as a stream to emulate, while it's not a bad stream to emulate, there's a lot of issues around that can kind of almost sabotage you if that's how you go. So um, I'm gonna break down a few of the bigger streams, the actual D&D streams, and tell you what my thoughts on it, because I realized what they did to get where they are, and even in those cases, not particularly the something that you might have access to. And what do I mean by that? So we'll start with Critical Role. Now with Critical Role, and again, don't get me wrong, I love them. That whole stream, everybody there, great show. It's very entertaining. Great game. However, as I said, don't look at what they're doing now, look at how they started. But even looking at how they started, it's a little bit misleading, because the way they started, they didn't actually create their own stream. They were a show on Geek and Sundry. So they already started off with the fact that, one, they're all actors. Now, granted, you could be an actor and still not um, have a lot of resources behind you, or have a lot of money to get everything jumped off and take that chance. Um, but they were approached by Geek and Sundry to actually play this game, and Geek and Sundry was an already existing stream, and they started. Geek and Sundry itself started out in the infancy of Twitch. So I mean, again, a lot of these older streams, they gained popularity because when there wasn't a lot of entertainment on Twitch, especially unique entertainment, they were filling that niche with their own programming. Geek and Sundry was essentially a production company that was producing all of this different content on their stream. Critical Role happened to be one of those streams. So nobody there had to do their own production. Geek and Sundry had to take care of that. They took care of all of that stuff. And even if you look at the old Critical Role streams, it still does look, very new streamer ish, right? That was because Geek and Sundry didn't know how well this was going to do, so they didn't put a lot of money into it. But they did have production value. They did have, resources. All they had to do was show up. Everybody in crew, all they had to do was show up, and Geek and Sundry took care of the rest. If you're someone like me and other streamers who are doing their own game, we are doing the post production. We are doing the production. We are putting together the cameras. We are putting together all of the things. We don't have a Geek and Sundry, right? We don't have a company that's putting resources into what we're doing. We're doing it all ourselves. So that's kind of like the first pitfall that you should be aware of if you go back and look at some of these bigger streams, right? Wizards of the Coast, same thing. A lot of their D&D streams, they have resources to produce these things. All their players, their DMs, all they have to do is show up. Production is taken care of. So, just kind of be aware of that pitfall. Now, granted, with Critical Role, one of the great things Critical Role did was something that every streamer does: interacting with their audience and interacting with them in different and unique ways to kind of build that up. But at the same time, Geek and Sundry was also marketing them. Okay, so they were doing what streamers should do, but they also had a big company of Geek and Sundry marketing them and kind of saying, "Hey, have you seen Critical Role? This is Critical Role. This is what's going on." And Make no mistake, the job that they did in their stream and how entertaining they are absolutely brought people to that stream. That, make no mistake, like I don't mean to take that away from them, but it's the combination of all of those things that make them as big as they are, right? So they didn't do the groundwork that we as individual people and streamers have to do. All of that was done already. And again, I'm not taking it away from them. Not to say that none of it was hard work. All right. When you're trying to do anything and trying to get anything off the ground, it is all hard work. Yeah. So what you have to do is again, you got to think about where these popular streams, how they started, and is it a place where you are starting from? Because if you're not, if they're starting up with a leg ahead, um, yeah, I'm not. Again, sounds familiar. Lily Pichu does sound familiar. I'm not. Again, I'm just started streaming in October, so still kind of getting my feet wet. Still learning my way around Twitch and streaming as it was. Okay, all right, got you. All right, that's where. Okay, now I know exactly who you're talking about. So, but yeah, and again, like, uh, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Bobicus. In a situation like that, she was probably what, like, you said she's a League of Legends streamer, but that's how she kind of built up her, her fan base, right? Her followers, the people who watch. And granted, she's probably very entertaining, but then she's now doing D&D, adding more content. She's already bringing an existing player base to that. Some people are not doing it. So again, I think that kind of lends to what I was saying, is that you have to, while it's good to see what current people do as D&D streamers, and see what you think is going to be something that you enjoy doing and something that you think you might want to emulate, you really do have to ask yourself, is that what's actually bringing people to the stream, or is it another reason? Are they already, do they have a production company? Is it someone who is already big in another field and now bringing their existing fan base to something new? Because again, this is we started out with a D&D stream. I'm doing this stream right now, and I also started doing a video game stream because I was like, oh, these are things I enjoy doing. I love talking. I do still enjoy playing video games, but D&D is my passion. Is like one of my big passions. So D&D is actually what got folks interested in this channel first. And I'm still fine tuning it. I'm still doing more every day to try and make it better. But again, it's if you're trying to stream tabletop, if you're trying to stream D&D, by all means, take a look at, because that's exactly what I did also. Besides going on online and checking out all these video game streamers and seeing everything that they did, I went onto the Dungeons and Dragons section of Twitch, and I would click on and watch as many different streams of D&D as I possibly could. And there's a lot of them that's blown up in the last 2 to 3 years. There are so many more than there used to be. Um, but watch what people do. See what's entertaining to you, right? But at the end of the day, you have to also enjoy what you're doing as well, as far as the game is concerned. Um, if you're just, and I guess that's the other caveat to all of this. If you're going to run a D&D stream, just because it's popular. Not that you particularly enjoy D&D, but you see that lots of people are watching D&D or another tabletop game, and you're like, you know what? I'll give that a shot. Um, if you're not going to enjoy it, if you're just doing it for that reason, it could probably be popular, especially if you already have a following, or you're already known for something, else, as being entertaining for something else. Yeah, people will probably tune in and they'll probably watch and follow and subscribe and all that good stuff. But eventually, you'll get tired of it, because it's not something you enjoy. You did it for uh, content, right? Um, but the Aurora, is that a person, or is that a game? Like a campaign that's going on. I'm not familiar with Aurora. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Well, no, Shady's actually my wife, the Mama Shady right there. Yeah, yeah. So now thank you very much. She's not my employee. She's my better half. That's who she is. Thank you again. Uh, my memory is not the best. So as soon as I saw Sensei Suplex, I knew exactly what you were talking about. So yeah. Yeah, no. Sensei Suplex is. I love watching his D&D streams. I know he's streaming. He was streaming today. Um, but with the holidays and everything, and me doing the stream now, I didn't get a chance to jump into the channel. Um, but yeah, no. I think I agree. I agree. I think Aurora is going to be very big because of how inclusive it is. All the things that are being done to bring more people into the hobby, regardless of whether it's streaming or not, right? That's important. And so yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be very big. Um, but again, with my reasoning behind this, as I said, is not only do I think I have the this has the potential to uh, make me self-employed, but I also believe that there are not enough people out there who know about not just D&D, but all the different types of tabletop games that are out there, all the different type of games that could possibly bring them joy and that they will enjoy. Um, and there are also a lot of people out there who, like me, um, want to work for themselves, but they're not streaming. They're actually creating board games. They are creating live action role playing games, and I want to be able to share them with others. I want them to be able to promote their what they're trying to do, so they can actually, uh, or possibly realize their dream of working for themselves. Oh, thank you. Hi, Julia. It's great to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Um, but yeah, I think it really is. If you're passionate about what you're doing, but you still want it to be a business, be prepared for a lot of hard work. Um, it's definitely as much fun as it is for me to put the games together and play. It is work. Make no mistake, and it's good work. I love it. I love this kind of work. Um, but you really do also, again, you want to do your due diligence. You want to find out as much as you can about the technology you want to go find out about what streamers are doing. And but you're gonna have to, it's gonna take you some time. You're not gonna find it right away, but you will need to find out what makes you unique. Um, or specifically your stream. What makes your stream unique? And there's a couple of elements to that. Um, and there again, a lot of this I've comes from a lot of tutorials and things that I've looked up online and checked out. But I some of the things that I agree with and that I try to employ is one, obviously you have to be entertaining in some way. Okay, me talking like this, I don't feel very entertaining, but some people have told me that I tend to give sometimes I give good advice, and so I definitely have great conversations with people. So I figured this is a way to kind of do that, to have conversations, have discussions, and hopefully, not only will is it my hope that you walk away learning something, I hope that I learned something too. I'm always again yesterday was my birthday, and even every year or every day actually, I try to learn something new. I hope that I learn something new, because I think it's a life is a constant journey. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Julia. Um, so every day is a journey. Now, getting back to streaming D&D and streaming tabletop games, um, excuse me. I need one of these. Now, let's say, all right, you've done your due diligence. You've kind of seen all the tutorials that you can see. You've seen a lot of advice, videos and advice on streaming, whether it's to Twitch, whether it's to YouTube, whether it's to Facebook Live. You figured out how to get you now. Now you have to figure out how to get your players on board, right? And it's obvious. It's as easy as asking them, "Do you want to play a game that's going to be streamed?" Right? That's the easy part. The not so easy part is making sure that you have a group of players that are going to be entertaining, are not going to freeze on the stream, and I mean just basically that you have the right group, right? In one of the previous talking streams that I've done, I did talk about getting the right group of people, and that usually means that you should know these people. You should have a pretty good idea whether the group is going to jive together. Is the group going to work together well, or do you have a person or a few people who are individuals who are just out to play the game for themselves and are not team players? That will not make a very good. No, grant. You know what? I'll take it back. It will be very entertaining. As entertainment goes, it will be very entertaining. But you, if you're the DM or if you are a player who is not trying to just play the game for yourself, you will not want to play this game after a certain amount of time, and then the stream is just going to come to an end, or the game itself will come to an end. So it really comes down to, before you ask the oh so easy question of, do you want to play a game that's going to be streamed, make sure you have the right group of people. Make sure you have people who, at the end of the day, understand all of the aspects of not just playing the game, but what it's going to take to actually stream and be successful at streaming. And I will tell you, everybody has a different definition of successful. Some people will think that when I say successful, I mean that, we got so many followers and We've got so many subscriptions, and look at all the unique viewers, and that's not what I mean by successful. A successful stream to me is the game was run, everybody had a good time, the stream, the technical, the logistical part of the stream, there was little to no, hiccups on the stream. That's it. That's a successful stream for me. Did everybody have a good time? That was part of it. Great. Uh, did we all walk away, waiting for the next game, or wanting to play some more? That's successful. If the answer is yes. Everything else after that is cake, right? The success will come, but the hard work needs to be put in first, and the hard work is actually playing the game, is making sure that the stream runs smoothly. That's it. There's more to it outside of the stream itself, like the social media, and making sure that people know that you're trying to direct people to your channel, and to your stream, and watching all that stuff. But I'm talking about the stream itself. A successful stream for me is just that. The stream went without a hitch. We played the game. Everybody had a good time. Okay? Every day outside of the stream, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I direct people now to the stream? How can I get people to come to watch us? Is that going to be me doing social media? Absolutely. Am I going to be creating more content outside of my D&D game? Talking with the DM, right? That's more content. That's a new thing I decided to do, because apparently people want to talk to me about D&D. At least that's what I heard. So I was like, okay, so here's some new content that is not my D&D game. So I'm sorry. You think one of Project Aura? I'm not sure what you mean, Bobicus. That you think one of Project Aurora. Oh, okay. Concerns is making the artist. Yeah. No, absolutely. So I will tell you all right, so most people don't know, and it's not like it's a big secret, but my actual, on top of all of this, I have a day job. I have a job, right? So I'm trying, like most people who are trying to get this off the ground, you're trying to juggle, your real life with this. And my day job is I'm a labor organizer. Some people don't know exactly what that means, others do, but at the end of the day, in respect to what you just said, absolutely, I am a person that I try my best to make sure that folks are getting paid or compensated in some way, and not doing something for free. The current game that we're playing now is all family and friends, and I still feel a twinge of guilt that I've not been able to do more to give to them, even though they are 100% willing to play this game just to play the game. But and we're gonna get to it when we talk about the future of players and creators. I'm gonna get to that, because there's more coming up, that 100% what you just said about making sure that other people are getting some kind of compensation. Thank you. Yes, Julie. Yeah. What's that saying? If you're good at something, make sure you get paid for it. I think that's applicable to a lot of things. So again, I definitely try my best to do what I can within my power. Um, if it means paying somebody and I can do that, absolutely. If I can't pay, I will try to figure out some kind of compensation. Babacus, yeah, yeah. They'll get paid for it even if you're mediocre at something. Yeah, yeah. Hell, hey, there's a lot of mediocre people out there who get paid a hell of a lot more than I do. That's for damn sure. Um, so yeah, absolutely, get yours right. But yeah, I definitely I agree with that, and I still feel bad about that with with my family and friends that we play with now in our current campaign. Um, but yeah, I'm also currently trying to in the process of hiring some artists for artwork. Um, yes, baby. Yes, baby. I pay you in other ways. Yeah. Love Doctor is in the house. Um, but yeah, it's you definitely, like I said, you definitely want to make sure that you have the right group who's willing to stream the game with you. Trust me, there are some people who I would love to have a game with that just are they'll never stream because they either like they hate cameras or they hate just being recorded or having their pictures taken. Um, but they're amazing players, and I wish that I could do that with them, but I can't do it. So, you know, but again, coming down the pike, I'm going to be talking about that. There are some amazing people who I will be playing some games with, and some of you will be able to see that. But I'm going to talk about it in a minute. All right, so you've seen your tutorials, you figured out the tech. You have your group that is willing to play a game and have it streamed. So what's next? If you figured out the tech and you figured out how to make a very simple overlays, or maybe even pay somebody to do that, you can just make sure that you get everybody on the screen. I'm not going to go into it. That might be another talking with the DM where I actually go into a step by step. Maybe I just do a tutorial. Um, but there are, again, if you've already done your diligence, figured out found the videos, figured out what you need for the stream, for the players, you have now just taken your first step into streaming for D&D. It will take you some time to figure out your brand, right? Like what makes you, as I was saying before, what makes you unique. Um, and once you figure that out, and again, it's going to say once you figure that out, actually, like I feel like that's going to come natural because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. Like players and creators, I know what it's about. I know what players and creators is, what I would love it to be. And that's the goal that I continue to shoot for. But I can't do all of it yet. Right? There's a lot that I like to do, but I can't do a lot of it yet because I have a life outside of the streaming. I'm trying to have that, make that balance, and it can be difficult. A lot of people will be able to sacrifice, some time here and some time there to put more time into the stream and do that, and that's great. But I am definitely a person that I feel like work-life balance has to be. It has to be something that it's important for me, and so I might not do that crazy sacrifice, this amount of time or that amount of time, and not have that time for my family, or not even have that time for myself, where I'll need to kind of like recoup myself and self care and all that good stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. Arcanum is actually one of the streams that I did watch. I tried to watch, and I'll be very honest. I was impressed by the storytelling. I was impressed by the world building, but I wasn't entertained. And that's the other part of this is like the entertainment is a big part of this. Um, Not only do your players have to be entertained, people who are watching your game have to be entertained. And I almost and Mama Shady can actually attest to this. I didn't want to stream our game at first. Um, I was like, my thought process was exactly that. Oh yeah, we find it entertaining because this is our game. You all wouldn't be coming to the table every week if you weren't being entertained. Um, you have yet to be entertained by D&D chat interaction. Okay, yeah, and that's fair. Like again, D&D streams, D&D games, and D&D streams are not for everybody, right? And everybody, and that's again, that's the other part of this. When it comes to especially Twitch, is that people are coming to a channel for different reasons, right? Some people are coming for the content that they see on the channel. Um, some people like yourself, you just said your big thing is the interaction in chat. That's what you come for. And that's the other part of trying to figure out your stream, right? So I actually have for the D&D stream, I actually have I think it's like 4 mods already, and to make sure that for those who just want to talk about D&D possibly just in chat and are not really 100% engrossed in what's going on the screen in front of them, they have people who will answer their questions and talk with them. A D&D game, generally you're not going to be have that interaction while they're having the game. Obviously, that's the nature of that kind of stream. Um, but yeah, that's another part of putting together a tabletop or D&D stream is figuring out, am I going to interact with chat during the stream, or am I just going to have the game and then just not interact at all? Maybe interact in the beginning or interacting. It's going to be different for everybody. So, Julia, yeah, you like people who understand the actual D&D rules and have great RP. I don't care about chat or interact. Yeah, exactly. That just proves my point, Julia. That's where for some people that's what drives them to a channel. That what drives them to a stream. Others, what's the interaction from the streamer to those in chat? Like, what does that look like? That's important to them. Again, that's why there's so many. That's why there's so many different streams, is because everybody is running a different type of stream because there's so many different people who want different things. Um, People who will come and interact with me on talking with the DM will not come watch the D&D game because I'm not going to be interacting with them like this. The one of the things you want to work on if you stream games, really integrating chat's experience with the game, maybe by giving NPCs over to chat to. Yeah, no, again, and that's going to be something, Babakis, that you really, if you can figure that out, that's what's going to make you unique, right? That's going to be your thing that brings people and keeps people coming back to what you're doing. And so absolutely, like trying to figure something like that out, absolutely, you should absolutely do that. Me personally, that's not something that I'm focused on right now. I think it's a great idea, but that's not something that I would actually focus on right now. So maybe in the future, that might be something, but by all means, like yeah, I think you have to, again, whatever it is that you're going to stream, whatever it is that you're going to do, D&D, tabletop, video games, what have you, right? You have to be invested in doing it. It has to be fun for you. It has to be something that you're passionate about, hopefully knowledgeable about. Or if you're not knowledgeable about something, you at least know how to direct people to that knowledge, right? Um, so, yeah, absolutely. So you can see like if players indecisive. Yeah, yeah, Julia. Yeah, I think what it sounds like to me, it sounds like, and what you were saying, Bobicus. Yeah, no, that's what I also, again, that's 100% what I try to do, Bobicus, is with players and creators, it's all about support, right? So when we stream the D&D game, not only am I trying to make a fun game for my players, my hope is that somebody's watching D&D and they learn something about the rules, or they learn what home brewing is because maybe I did something that wasn't in the rules, but it's something I created for the game, and they realize that they can do it too. Or maybe they're inspired to run their own game or to write something, right? I that's I it's always about players and creators, is always about support for me. So, unless something you're suggesting in chat will actually hurt another person, I usually support it, right? Because who am I to tell you don't do that, right? That like then I would be a hypocrite. I'm always telling people, like, I'm always trying to follow my dreams. Why would I try to stop other people from trying to do those? Yeah, see, and I don't, right? I don't put pineapple on my pizza, right? But I'm not gonna stop you just because I don't enjoy it. I used to like it. That is true. I used to like it, and then as I got older, my taste changed. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna stop you from doing that. I'll just say that's not for me. Thank you, and I just move on. Not everybody's like that. That's the unfortunate truth of the world. Not everybody is like that, but I always try to do that. But no, what Bobicus and Julia, what I was actually going to say was what you're talking about. Actually, kind of, it reminds me of those old adventure books, um, back when I was a kid, where you would kind of like you would read up to a certain point, and then you would have to basically pick which way. Yeah, choose your own adventure. Yeah, absolutely. Where you would have to pick. It's like, okay, if you want your adventurer to, you're in the tunnel. If you want him to go left, turn to page 80. If you want him to go right, just turn, go 2 pages forward, and you'll see what happens. Right? That sounds a little bit about like what you're doing, what you're talking about, Babakis. Maybe it's you get to a point in the game where it's like, okay, chat, now is your turn to to be part of it and say, yeah, yeah, take control of a certain thing by voting for this, or whatever thing that you come up with, that would allow that control from the chat. That's what it sounds like to me a little bit. Um, but yeah, again, I think it really comes down to all of those things. It's just kind of putting together the tech, putting together, learning the tech, um, putting together the game, putting together a good group. Uh, yeah, as the regular game continues, hopefully chat is able to create some dramatic irony for the players. So the two blah blah. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely, Bobicus, absolutely. The other important thing to remember, though, is, and this actually goes to something that you said earlier, is you have to actually make sure that your players are on board with this. because if your players are expecting one type of gameplay and then they feel like their control is being taken away from them by the chat, if they're not prepared for that, it could get a little sticky, right? So absolutely, like make sure that your players know that this is the format, right? This is what's going to happen. You're going to play these characters, but at some point chat is going to decide this, right? And if they're cool with it, then you've got a successful game. You got a game ready to play, right? um so yeah. Julia it looks like she kind of like was thinking exactly the same thing I was. I just kind of said it first before she typed it. Yeah. So yeah, but absolutely, Bobicus. I think that's a great idea. I really do. Um. So, but yeah. So kind of backtracking. So learning the tech, right? You learn the tech. You've got your group together. You know that it's a good group to game with. You figured out what game you're playing. You know, so and you're starting to put all of these elements together and trying to figure out whether you're going to stream. All right, so now again, kind of bringing it all the way back around. Now you're trying to figure out, is this a hobby? You know, based on all of the work that you've already put into this, right? To get up to this point, are you willing to put in more work? And if the answer is yes, and you know it seems like this work will actually be, while it will be hard work, it will still be fun, then congratulations, you're well on your way to probably becoming a successful streamer. And again, my measurement of success is different. It is different than others. Um, but if you're willing to put in that hard work, now if you're only willing to do it for this game, then it's probably a hobby. If you went in thinking I'd like to work for myself, and then realized this is just too hard, I can't put in all this time, I can't put in more than this time just for this game, you're probably at a hobby, you know, that hobby level. And again, you are going to again, not again because I didn't say it yet, but you are going to absolutely need support from others. And again, whether it's paid support or whether it's support from friends and family, whether it could be just emotional and moral support, you're gonna need it through this whole endeavor, because trying to do it just by yourself, it's tough. It's tough to do by yourself. It can be done. Don't get me wrong. It can be done, but it is tough. Right. So now you figured out, after all that work, you're gonna move forward. Is this a hobby? Is this uh, is this, you know, if can I do more? Can I try and make this into, can I make this self-sustaining? So then the next part is, and again, this is whether it's a hobby or you're trying to just create more and more things to become a self-sustaining business. um the next part really is going to be every day making it better. And it doesn't mean like every day you're tweaking the overlay, you know, or creating new overlays. It could be that, but it doesn't mean exclusively that. It could mean just learning more about OBS, learning more about the tabletop game that you're playing. Right now, I know D&D pretty well as someone who's played almost every version. I never played the initial first edition of D&D, but I've played all of the others, the subsequent versions. on some level or another. Um, I want to, now you should learn more about it. Where it came from, what happened. And again, that should be any game that you play, because it's just fun to learn things. Uh, and the other part of streaming something is you should try to be educational as well. Now, a lot of the things that I'm talking about specifically come like are some of the tips that I've heard from a video game player, also just content creator like you just Harris Heller, right? Says a lot of really has a lot of really good tips, but it's just a video game. None of this is in the context of playing a tabletop game or D. Nice, Baba Kiss. Nice. Um, and again, one of the I try when I stream my D&D game. Again, are my players having fun? Have the is has the stream had any little to no hiccups as far as you know the actual stream itself? And I'm hoping I'm inspiring people. I hope people are learning something. Um, I hope that we're entertaining, right? At the same time, it's all of those things put together. But now you've done this, starting to do it, whether it's a hobby. Now, if you're at the hobby level, you're kind of done in the sense that you know what it takes to create a stream for your hobby, right? And if you want people to keep watching this, even if you just want it to be a hobby, you have to make it a little better every day. Learn something about the game, learn something about the technology to make these better, make your overlays better. Come up with something new and exciting that you can introduce to your players as well as to those who are watching the stream. Like Bobicus, you're talking about, having your chat control an NPC or something. That's an amazing thing to add to your stream, right? But then figure out how to do it. And then when you figure out how to do it, is there a way that you can do it better, right? Can you streamline it? Can it be two NPCs that they can control? That kind of thing. Is there a better mechanic for getting the chat to vote on a specific way to go? Obviously there are polls, and you can do polls and voting, so but try to learn a way to streamline it and make it less clunky if it seems to be clunky. That kind of thing. That's making your stream better every day. Even if it's just I spent maybe an hour or two watching videos on tips and tricks on how to tweak my settings on my OBS. That is making your stream better every day. But don't neglect the game, because guess what? That's your content, right? So you definitely want to put a lot of time into that game as well to make that better. For me, the number of the different things that I do, I 3D print miniatures. While we are still streaming the game and we're 100% playing this game online, I'm a very tactile person. I love minis. I love all those things, and my players do as well. I personally have a hard time with Roll20, just because I can't. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around. So I actually have a physical battle map, and I 3D print the miniatures, and then I put a camera on there, and we run the battles that way. And every time I try to find a unique looking miniature, or something different about the map. I'm always looking for new minis. I'm always looking for new. Um, yeah, yeah. So, the Ender 3 is definitely a good a good start. I would say starter 3D printer. Um, but do your research, figure out what's best for you, um, as far as space is concerned, things like that. I promise that at some point I will actually uh, do a specific talking with the DM just about 3D printing my minis. Um, I'm just not there yet. Um, so now, if you, we're done. If we're talking about this as your hobby, we're done. But now we're going to continue because you don't want it to be your hobby. You want it to be a self-sustaining business, or at least something that's going to make you a little extra money to help you get by with things, and maybe turn it into, uh, you know, a business where you work for yourself. Right? So now you have your game. You know what you're doing. Everything I said that you're going to do for your hobby, you're going to do for your initial stream. But now you have to make more. You have to create more, right? And what does that mean? It has, again, it means things that you are passionate about doing, things that are going to be fun for you to do, even though it's going to require hard work. So again, what I did was after the D&D game, I wanted to drive people to the D&D stream. So I was like, okay, what are some things that I could do? And one of them was I play games. I still love playing video games, but I don't play the newer games. So I created a video game stream called Old Man Plays Old Games. And that's all I do. Like, I play older video games on the stream. And with the hopes that people will find that entertaining, and they will realize, oh, he also has this other stream. Let me check that out. Okay? For those who might not be interested in an old man playing old games, boom, talking with the DM, right? Again, some people told me I give sometimes good advice, and some people say that I have good conversations with people. I agree with the second one. I don't know if I give great advice. Some people like it, some people don't. So I created this one. That's extra content. Great. Wonderful. Some people, and just like you were saying, Bob, because some people like this stream better than my D&D stream because I am 100% more interactive with them than I am on my D&D stream. And that's specifically why I created this. I wanted to talk to people. I want all the people that watch my D&D stream, I want to talk with them. I want to have conversations about either the game or their questions about D&D in general or just gaming or whatever. I want to have conversations. So that's what this is about, right? And again, do you find me entertaining? You like what I have to say? Or, maybe I'm goofy enough that you want to see me be goofy in something else. That's, again, more content is better. So that's what I did. I was like, okay, how do I do this? Now, granted, I do the D&D game every week. Not these past 2 weeks because, holidays. But every Thursday, every week, without fail, for the most part, we do our D&D game. This and the video game stream, Old Man Plays Old Games, is every other week, right? So still creating content, but I'm not killing myself at the same time. But it's still worth doing. Still on a schedule. People can come and see it. They know. It's not good enough for me though. And now this is where we kind of get into the future of Players and Creators. And this would also be helpful if, again, you are trying to kind of, get off on that right foot of, no longer working for the man. Because let's face it, streaming alone will not make you money, will not support you, or if you are married and you're a couple or you have a family, right? Streaming by itself won't do that. hobby, a little money on the side, absolutely. Streaming by itself can do that. Not if you're trying to work for yourself. It's impossible. Unless you've got like thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers every month, then that's not impossible. But before you actually get to that point, you need to do more. And what does that mean? So you know that some people, and again, I'm not an expert at what I'm about to talk about. This is just from what I've gathered and from my research, my Google foo, uh, things that I've seen online. Um, Sponsorships are a way people make extra money through their streams, right? Um, but again, you have to have a certain amount of streamers to even warrant a sponsorship. Now, when it comes to sponsorships, there's a lot of opinions running around on whether you should accept them or not, and accept them from, and this, that, and the other thing. My belief is First off, nobody's approached me for sponsorship or anything. Do I think it's going to happen? Not without a lot of hard work. But my opinion on sponsorships is that it should be in something that you either use or absolutely 100% believe other people should. That's it, right? I would feel like an ass because of the type of person I am. If a sponsor came to me and says, "Oh, I want you to shill my product on your stream. I'm gonna pay you all this money to do it, and it may be a lot of money, but if I don't believe in it, I'm not gonna do it." Because people who are watching my stream have earned, I have gained their trust, and the last thing I want to do is betray that. So I will absolutely, if a sponsor were to ever come to me, it would be something that I either use, that I enjoy, and would hope that others would do the same. That's the only way I would actually accept a sponsorship. I don't care how much money gets thrown at me. Some people don't. Some people will be like, "Yeah, you come to me with a check, and I will shill whatever you want me to do." That's not what I do. But that is the way that people, streamers, make extra money. Another way, is through merchandising. Um, as you are creating your brand, as you are creating your content, you will at some point figure out logos. You will figure out, various things on your stream that have become somewhat iconic, right? And you will be able to, you will actually be able to sell your merchandise using that iconography, using those pictures, using your logo. And that helps you as well. Because let's face it, if you're doing this by yourself, if you have a full-time job, you're trying to get this off the ground, even if you're single, married, or with a family, it's still difficult to do by yourself, right? You're gonna need all the support you can. It takes a lot. You're paying for electricity. You're paying for probably an upgraded computer. Something. There are costs incurred in all of this. So you're gonna do your best to, put something together that's gonna make you a little bit of extra money. Merchandising is one of those ways to do it, and it will help. Now, granted, again, there are many other different ways. If you're streaming on YouTube, you can actually make money through YouTube. Similarly, I say similarly, you can make money on YouTube as well by streaming. Not the way Twitch does. Twitch is very different. Again, that is you can do that as well. There are many different ways that streamers are making money outside of their streams, and that's essentially one way to do it. A number of ways to do it. There again. Uh, Once if you get big enough, you might actually start getting approached by companies who want to represent you, and basically meaning that they will. It's like almost like an agent, where they will say, "Oh, you know what? If you let us represent you, and we'll take a certain percentage, we will find you sponsors. We will find you people who are willing to pay you, so you can actually, uh, sell their product on your stream, and you can make money that way as well." My advice for something like that is you want to get the advice of a lawyer before you do anything like that. Because you're signing a contract that could impact everything you're trying to do. Um, so yeah, this is I'm gonna stop here when it comes to like the different ways of making money, because I'm only scratching the surface, right? There are a lot of different ways. Hopefully, you are already at this point in your trying to put together your stream, trying to put together all that stuff. You have figured a lot of this out, right? You have made these ideas, yeah. Yes, and be wary if an agent asks you for money up front. Absolutely, Julia. Absolutely. Um, but yet one more way, and this is actually this kind of like this almost combines one of the merch way with is what we actually at Players and Creators have just actually started doing. And while we do appreciate all the support that we've been getting on Twitch, I'm gonna be very honest. The Anybody who streams for Twitch and is an affiliate and or a partner, and you're subscribing to us, the cut from Twitch is crazy, right? You're not really walking away with a lot. It's essentially the way you get paid by Twitch is essentially akin, and Julia is actually the one that really kind of put the nail on the head for this. Was the way you get paid by Twitch is akin to commissions from musician, and it's not really 100% self-sustaining unless you have hundreds, if not thousands, of subscribers. Yeah, royalties. Yes, royalties. Um, if you don't have thousands of subscribers, it can be daunting, right? So, one of the things that we were playing with, one of the things that we kind of figured that we'd try to do is offer you, and by you I mean anybody who wants to support what Players and Creators does or is trying to become. We actually started our Patreon last week, right? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up real quick. All right. And if for those who are not familiar with Patreon, Patreon essentially, they do take a cut. They do like tiers, level subscriptions. And the difference though is that what you contribute monthly definitely goes a hell of a lot. It goes longer. It goes a long way. So Twitch's cut is about 50% of whatever you make. That's a lot. Patreon, their initial cut is 3% of whatever you make monthly. That is a big difference. And if you're trying to also grow your channel again to become, or just grow your brand to become a self-sustaining business person, this is probably a good way to help you. All right, and I will show you what I mean and what we're offering to maybe give you some ideas. So, just much like a subscription with Twitch, they're called tiers or membership levels. And you, as the individual who puts this together, it is on you. And again, this is where a lot of the hard work is going to come in. It is on you to figure out what your patron is going to get for whatever money they're subscribing to, right? And obviously, the higher the levels go, the more you should be offering those. So, for example, we have the first level is a supporter, right? Now, a lot of, and we're going to get to it, but a lot of these tiers, the higher you get, you will actually start getting merchandise that is exclusive to only being a patron here for players and creators, right? Even when we start actually doing merch for like t-shirts and hats and things like that, which is something that we plan on doing down the line, you won't be able to get any of these things unless you're a patron. Right, so that's an exclusive thing that you can give to to the people who are trying to support you. But supporter, right? If you just want to support what we're doing once a month, $3 a month. It's already cheaper than Twitch, right? It's already cheaper than the first tier of Twitch. And what do they get for this, right? I will send you, whoever supports, a postcard from me, handwritten, thanking them for their support, as well as a patron shout out. And a patron shout out, what that is at the end of every stream, I will actually thank all of our patrons. Whether that's me actually reading it out, or you'll actually see their names on the stream about all the people who have supported them, their name will be there every single time, just for that. Okay, not bad. Now, if you take a level 1 membership, it's $4.75 a month. Guess what? Still cheaper than Twitch, right? You'll get your personal thank you, you get your patron shout out, and here on the Patreon page, you will get patron only posts and messages that only you as a patron can see, right? And with that, that'll mean, again, things that are not shown on the stream. It'll be exclusive things, whether it's like behind the scenes pictures, whether it's just me having conversations with some of the patrons. You get access to that. No one else will be able to get access to. And you're supporting what we're doing every month. Now, next level is level 2. That's $9.50 a month. At this level, again, you get everything from the others, but now you're getting a few more things. All right, so what should you get? You actually get an exclusive sticker, players and creators. So you see the logo right up there. It says players and creators. That is the logo sticker that you will get. All right, you'll also get access to our Discord server. There will be patron-only access Discord servers or patron-only posts there as well. And you get patron-only voting power. So what does that mean? That means that patrons on Patreon will actually be able to help me drive either content or ideas or merchandise. Like say for example, I say, hey guys, hey patrons, I'm thinking of putting together some merchandise, and I have these 3 shirts, and it's a shirt that has 3 different things on it. Which one should be the first one? Patrons would be the ones, they would be able to tell me through votes which merch is going up first. Hey, Loophole King, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Merry Christmas to you too. And may all your rolls be crits as well. um, so that's at the second level. That's 950 a month, right? And then level 3, again, you get all those things I just discussed. The new things that you get is you actually get you don't get the sticker, you only get the mug. Right? You get a mug now, ceramic mug, players and creators logo on it. Again, exclusive. Right? Now, that's 22 a month, and you get all of those other things as well, except for the sticker. Um, for the adventurer, which is level 4, all of those other things. This time you get a players and creators t-shirt. At the higher level, at level 5, which is 50 a month, right? Now, you get sticker, get a mug, get a t-shirt, and you get a hoodie. Right? All players and creators, you will not be able to get any of that merch at any other than being a patron. Right? At 100 a month, you get all of those things. Again, sticker, mug, t-shirt, hoodie, personal thank you, patron shout out, patron only posts, voting power. But additionally, I will work with you to create a D&D one-shot game for you on the stream. Okay. That's it. Right? Now, again, this is something that can help, and their cut is considerably much lower than Twitch's, which means that the money can go. I get more money to basically put back into the stream and back into the content. Why is that so important, that you ask? Right? Why is that important that there's your money goes a little longer? Well, now we get to the fun stuff. It's important, one, if you're trying to get a business off the ground, you need capital. Capital is money. Like, I'm sorry, right? I hope it's not. I hope I'm not like exposing a huge secret, but you need money to make a business grow. Right? There are costs that are incurred to do any of this. However, the big reason, and this is what I'm very, very excited about. So coming up in the new year, we absolutely have some new games that we're going to be streaming, in addition to what we're already streaming. Right? So I can absolutely say now I don't have dates yet because we're still figuring out dates, but there will be another D&D game. We're actually going to be doing Lost Mines of Phandelver with a group of 5 amazing individuals. The other tabletop game that we'll be playing is actually a role-playing game, exclusively role-playing, called Monster Hearts 2, with another group of 5 amazing individuals. And that will be coming in the new year. Not going to say any more than that. I don't want what's your appetite, but we're going to have new games. We are going to be streaming those games regularly, in addition to what's already being streamed now. Your subscriptions help us, whether it's on Twitch or whether you're a Patreon subscriber. Those help us to basically hire artists. Those help us to make our streams better. Whether it's the overlay, whatever it is, equipment, what have you. So all of those things are important because we are going to be offering more fun content for everybody. And that's kind of like let's face it, that's what you have to keep doing. In order to grow, you need to do more. And I will tell you what I told the players of these new games that we're going to be streaming is, even if we weren't streaming these games, I would be DMing for those folks because I want to support other people. Like I was seeing in my feed, in my Facebook feed, mostly, people who were going out of their minds because of the quarantine, because of the pandemic, like just going stir crazy. And granted, there's a lot of right there's like a lot of folks who are dealing with all the craziness of the pandemic in their own way. There are people who used to play games at a table with their friends who can't do that anymore, and that, let's face it, like that's a form of self-care. Like just getting together, getting out of your head for a little while, for a few hours, when you go to play, and you don't have to deal with your problems and your issues for a little bit, and it helps you continue to move on. And now there were so many people who they couldn't play anymore, or they didn't have games. Nobody could run their games. I said, I'll do it. Right? I was like, who is anybody interested? I will run a game. Would you also be interested if the game was streamed live? Got a lot of people who were interested, and now we have two more games that are going to be streamed coming new year, which is great. It's amazing. But it's, as I said earlier, even though it's fun, it is a lot of hard work for everybody involved. So whatever support you can continue to give us, whether it's here on Twitch or whether it's through Patreon, we'll take it, right? Because in order for us to give back to you, we need your support. And that's really just like the best way to do it. And I'm not gonna lie, I hate asking and I hate saying it because I feel like I should be able to do it myself, but the reality is I can't. We need each other. Like that's what community is about, right? Being able to support each other, being able to lift each other up in different ways. And not everybody does it in the same way. Some people will follow you because they want to keep watching and they'll support that way. Amazing, right? Some people will subscribe. Equally amazing, right? Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. But it does, like I said, it does take a lot of our hard work for a lot of people, and whatever you can do to support us helps. So thank you for the support you're giving us now and the support you'll give us in the future. But yeah, like I said, coming New Year, we'll be continuing our current D&D game. I will continue doing Old Man Plays Old Games, and I'll continue doing this, talking with the DM. But we will have more fun. We will have more games, and hopefully, again, like, because Monster Hearts 2 is a different type of role-playing game. No miniatures or anything like that. It's very role-play intensive. But I want to expose people to a different type of game that they might not be familiar with, but might find fun. The D&D game that we're going to be, the additional game is going to be Lost Minds of Phandelver. And for those who are unaware, that is the D&D starter game. That is from the starter set. And for those who've never played D&D, or you saw the starter set and you're not sure like how to start or whatever, that'd be a good way to kind of like jumpstart the ideas, get the old juices flowing. Or if you've been interested in picking it up, maybe this will show you how fun it can be, and you should absolutely pick it up. That kind of thing. So So yeah, so there's going to be a new look to some of the games that you're to some of the things you've been familiar with so far. Um, yeah, with as much as a trash fire that 2020 was, my hope is going into 2021 that just going to just come in with a bang, right? More fun, more content, more different types of games. Um, there's more. Like I'm almost afraid to say some of the things I want to do, but like I have a laundry list of things that I would love to do. Um, I would love to actually currently right now. If you've missed any of our D&D games, you can actually go to our YouTube page and you can kind of catch up, right? You can see some of the all the streams that I've done so far that are no longer on Twitch are on YouTube. But I would love to do a podcast, right, of the game. But that costs. I mean, that's the server costs. It's like, just can't do it right now. I want to do it as soon as I can do it. I will do it. Don't have to. I don't have the ability to do it. Right. I mean, there's a lot of other things. I mean, podcast is just like one of the. But again, you have to start out somewhere. This is where we're starting at right now, and don't get me wrong, we're starting out really well. Really happy with how things are turning out with the stream, with the new games that are coming up. Everybody's amazing games. Um, it's just like, but when you're passionate about what you do, when you are super happy and you love the things that you're doing, sometimes when you get very excited about the potential. You get very excited about what it could become, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. When I did so Players and Creators, for those who don't know, came out of a podcast that I used to do with my best friend Brendan, called Old Man and Skinny Guy. Uh, Spoilers: I was not the skinny guy. Um, but with those podcasts, it was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I want to do with Players and Creators, which was supporting folks. We would do interviews with people about the games that they have, the games they've created, the games that they run, the games they love playing, right? And these were not like, again, the most famous person I interviewed was Gigi Edgley and her brother Jake Edgley, right? Those were the most famous people I've interviewed. Everybody else that I've interviewed have been local game creators. I want people that you've probably never heard of who have created the most amazing games that you've never heard of. That they exist, that they're out there. You could absolutely pick that game up and play it today if you wanted to, but you don't know about it. That's what we did. Those were some of the things that cosplayers, right? We used to interview some cosplayers to talk about like why they cosplay, why the costuming that they do, how they got into it, all like, because again, we want people to feel, one, that they're not alone, and two, we want them to feel supported in the things that they love doing. I'd love to start doing interviews again. I would love to do interviews. We're not at that point yet. We when we get there, we'll do it. We just can't do it yet. We're not there yet. I think there's just so much potential here. That's right. Yeah, Christina Kelly was also, yeah, she was an anime voice actor. Um, I'm a terrible person because I don't know the animes off the top of my head that she has voiced. But I'm sure, I think one of them was Food Wars. She was a voice for one. Uh, my youngest daughter would absolutely know. Uh, but yeah, there's so much potential here with what we can do with players and creators. And I'm not being facetious when I say we. I mean us, right? Me and my family and my friends and people who are supporting me on this end. And you who are listening and watching us and supporting us, whether it's just through following, subscribing, or what have you, right? There's potential here of what we can do. Because like some Babakis, I don't know if Babakis is still here, but they had amazing ideas in here. I'm again not ideas that I'm not going to use um, necessarily because that's not what I want to do, but that kind of input, those kind of discussions drive everything, right? Um, if somebody says, "Hey, you should do this," or "I think this is a great idea," or "What's going on? With this, why can't we do this?" If it's a good idea, guess what? You just helped create more things, not only for yourself but for other people to enjoy as well. And again, that's like I said, I always try to be all about support, and I hope to continue doing that for as long as I can. Right? I did it for a little while through the podcast, and now I'm doing it through the stream. Again, I will, even if I didn't have this stream, even if I didn't have the ability to do this, I would, because again, it's just my nature. I would be trying to find some way to keep supporting people, um, because there's not enough people doing that, and there absolutely needs to. So, um, so yeah, so that's. Hey, how you doing? Oh man, Steve Ashura. I hope I said that right, Steve Ashura. Welcome to the stream. Uh, so yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's just we just need to keep supporting each other in the things that we do. Um, Yesterday in the stream that I did yesterday, the video game stream, um, we had somebody come in and was just essentially talking about, like, if something makes you happy, why should we try to be taking that away from people? And they're absolutely right. Um, if you're doing something that makes you happy, it's not hurting other people. Why shouldn't we support each other then? I'm sorry. It's just like with the holidays and everything that's going on, you know, with the state of the world as it is. I constantly, it drives me crazy how many people are not empathetic. I've talked about empathy before in my um and it drives me absolutely crazy that people don't care enough about other people. What do I think of that D&D website? Roll 20. Yeah, Roll 20. Roll 20 it has its uses. It's pretty good. But again, it's not for everybody. It's not something that I've personally used. I tried using it when the whole we have to quarantine, and I could no longer get together with my D&D group, physically. It was one of the first places I went to try and figure out how to run a game virtually, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Like it's definitely good for some people, and I definitely recommend it if it's something that you can run. Like if you have the ability to run it without any issues. Personally, I just can't use it. And it just, but that's just me. It definitely works for other people. I think it's if you're using it for if you're using the free version of it, where you're not actually paying for like the content on Roll20, it's an economical way to run a D&D game. But there will be a lot of work on your end, setting everything up. Uh, when you're paying for the campaigns, you're paying for ease of putting together the campaign online. Uh, but yeah, it's Roll20s. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something to use, if you can use it. I think it's the best way. Um, and if you're looking for, I don't know if you mean that you're like looking for games like D&D games that are going on. Depending on where you are, I do know that there are a lot of. I think I talked about this on one of my other streams as well, but there are a lot of online games that are going on now because people are in the same, pretty much in the same boat, where they're looking for games. They don't know people who are running games, so they can actually uh, what do you call it? They can look online for at their local gaming stores. Sometimes their local gaming stores are doing it. Um, Project Aurora, that's put together by Sensei Suplex. They are introducing people to the game. People who have not played D&D before. They're putting together some games. There are avenues to get into games online. But again, these are going to be random people online. So if you're okay with that, I would just say like either Google D&D games, that kind of thing, and see what you can find. I think Roll20 themselves, um, they if they don't do it themselves, they might have resources on their website that can direct you to where you could probably find some. But yeah, just a quick Google search um, might be helpful. Might help you out with finding a game if that's what you. Um, but yeah, yeah. It's again. This is uh, this lengthy conversation about streaming D&D and tabletop games. One of the I did do a stream about Roll20 and other services as well that you can help. Um, yes, subreddits. Yeah, they have them, but I'll be very honest. When it comes to Reddit, I no longer. I used to be on Reddit. I no longer go on Reddit anymore. It's very in not all the communities, but in a lot of the Reddit communities, kind of toxic. Uh, Tend to complain and attack each other more than try to be helpful. It's been my experience with Reddit. So I tend not to go there anymore. Uh, but yeah, like I said, local gaming stores. Um, I would say also uh, maybe some D&D, like just D&D related uh, D&D related kind of games. I I would probably also say, like, I know D&D Beyond, they have forums where They talk a little bit about finding games and where they could find games, and people are pretty helpful on those forums. Um, there is the Dungeon Masters. I'm blanking on the last word. I think it's the Dungeon Masters Guild, the DM Guild or something like that. I believe. Um, they have forums as well that might be helpful to you. Again, like I said, just I would suggest quick Google search. Looking for D&D games or local D&D games, things like that. Maybe that might be helpful. I did put up some of those resources that I talked about in the last stream that I did in our Discord. So if you wanted to join our Discord and see if you could probably find some of those places, those links are in our Discord as well. But yeah, today we were actually just talking about streaming D&D tabletop games. Some people do it for a hobby. Some people try to do it for to actually be their own boss, like try to make it self-sustaining, something that they can make a living on. And it's talking a little bit about more how you could do those things, right? Like what does it take to do that? Um, you know, the short answer is a lot of hard work. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Julia, absolutely. Yeah, Facebook groups are good too. Um, yeah, when the world opens, going to cons and meeting new folks is also great. Yeah, I know, like the world is closed, right, to personal interactions, so it's a hell of a lot harder. When it does come back, when we are able to people again, uh, yeah, conventions are definitely a good way to do it. Um, you know, Showing up at your local gaming store is also good. Uh, Meeting new people there, that also helps. Yeah, and D&D itself, like Wizards, they do the D&D adventure groups. I'm not sure if they're doing it online, but I if I were them, I have a feeling that they are probably putting something together, close to it, if they haven't already done it. I was never part of the D&D adventure group, so I'm not 100% sure. But uh, as big as a company as they are, I'm pretty sure they've found a way to probably keep those groups going online. So that might be another thing to kind of look for. Um, but yeah, so we're actually gonna cut the stream short right here. Normally I stay on till about for 3 hours to about 9, but it's the holidays, and as much as I enjoy having these conversations with everybody, as I was saying, kind of like work-life balance, still want to spend some more time with my family. Thankfully, I'm on vacation from my real job, so I want to make the most of the time I have with the people that I care about. Um, I encourage you all to do the same, even if it's virtually. Um, you know, get grandma on Zoom or Discord, right? Whatever, whoever it is that you want to see, uh, get them to see them virtually. Tell them that you care. Um, spend that time that you can with them now, because tomorrow is never promised to anyone. So again, I want to thank you all uh, for being with me today. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you again for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Um, I appreciate you too, Julia. You and Jean and everybody in our group is awesome. So, thank you, Swedish buddy. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So as I was saying, just be do what you can to spend time with the folks, and just because it's the holidays, even if it wasn't the holidays, spend those time with folks that you care about virtually. Be safe, and as I always say, take care of yourself, take care of others, be good to others, and more importantly, be good to yourself. Uh, and I will see you and talk with you next time. I'm going. This is going to be the end of the stream. Going to raid a friend of ours. So please just stand by while we end the stream and we do that. But again, take care, and I appreciate all of you. Take care.